Okay, so today's video is going to be about finances, about money, about my relationship with money, about why a lot of your favorite influencers are probably broke and in debt, and yeah, just kind of like my experience, my journey, and the things that I'm doing to make my situation better. This is not by any means to garner sympathy for anything. I just feel like people don't talk with enough transparency about money, and I feel like if I would have learned these things in the more tangible, kind of like example based way, I may have not committed the mistakes that I made. So in my case, okay, first off, what's the issue? My expenses are super high, super high. Second issue, I don't have consistent income. I am a freelancer. I make art. I do social media stuff. So I get paid large amounts very not so often. I get paid one big check every few months. So when you break it down per all the months that you didn't get paid for, you're not making that much money. That's number one. So I don't know when my next check is coming, and in reality is not that much considering how many expenses I have. Number three, I have a lot of debt. I have college loans. They're thankfully not that bad because I went to a public college. I went to Hunter College, which is a CUNY. It's a City University of New York. So I was able to take out federal loans, which have lower interest than private loans. So I'm cool off that. But a loan's a loan. On top of that, I have credit card loans. I have 2 credit cards and they are eating me up right now, girl. I've had them since I was 19. I'm 26 now. It has been recently that I've been experiencing what the issue with credit cards is. And it's because we'll get into it. Okay, so I never considered myself someone that would like really struggle that much with debt. I never thought I'd be someone that was like majorly rich, but I never thought I'd be in this position where like I'm kind of like stuck. In my mind, I was like, okay, the older I get, the more money I will make, and the better off I'll be. I'll make better decisions. I'll just move, coast through life, all that. That's not what happened. It actually was the inverse. The more money I made and the older I got, the more expenses I had, and I did not know how to maintain them, how to move, how to navigate that, and all the different things that blindside you later on. Because I never considered myself someone that was that irresponsible with money in the traditional sense, I was like, well, I don't like to shop. I don't buy things full price. I don't buy designer things. I don't have big expenses all at once. I thought, look, I'm fine. I'm gonna be fine. The people that have like credit card debt and that max out their credit cards are those that are irresponsible and like, shop too much. But what I didn't realize is that I live with no restrictions and no self-awareness, and I was making huge financial mistakes. So I've had jobs since I was 17. At 17, I started working at 17. I started working at American Apparel, and back then, I was making $9 an hour to be harassed in a tube top. And to be managed by people that were only 3 years older than me and were like holding me essentially at gunpoint to like try to service customers, sell $40 leggings and try to apprehend suspects. Like, bro, I'm not like, you could not pay me enough to do that. I only lasted 4 months, but you got 50% discount off everything, off all merchandise. So I was just like, cool, work, shop, no duh. And then after that, I went to Top Man, which is the men's department of Topshop, and I was able to shop as well. That discount wasn't as high, so I wasn't shopping as much, but I was shopping the sales section. So at all these points, I was in college at the time. I was just like shopping to like buy whatever I wanted as far as like clothes, or that clothes that I got discounts on because I worked at the stores, or clothes that I would thrift because they were a lot more affordable, to buy food and all of that stuff. I was living at home with my parents because I went to college in the city. So it was just kind of one of those things where it was like I didn't really have this idea of saving money in any way, shape, or form. So then I left Top Man and I started working at a coffee shop in Harlem. And there I got paid a little bit more because I was making tips. And then that was cool. I was going to school full time, working part time, making money, whatever, whatever. And then I worked at another coffee shop around like 29th Street. And that was really cool. It was like inside of a hotel. I got paid way more there. And basically after that, that was my last regular job in 2017, 2018. And from there on, I started freelancing. I started doing social media promotion on Instagram and things like that. And ever since then, I've been essentially self-employed between the promos and selling art and random odd jobs. Like I would do like background acting and stuff like that. So one of the major mistakes that I noticed early on as far as my spending was my Ubers. Here's the thing. I don't want to make this video about nitpicking at all your little habits that like make you like happy and stuff like that. But also I kind of want to come clean, and I don't think that a lot of the self-care stuff is actually self-care. I think it's self-sabotage. And unfortunately, we all kind of need to restrict a little bit, because what I'm coming to terms with is that we don't got it like that. I don't got it like that. Most of y'all don't got it like that. Why are we acting like we got it like that? And that's why I kind of want to make this video, because we're here like, spending ourselves into oblivion, convincing ourselves that we need like certain luxuries or not. Okay, here's the thing. Certain things are not even luxuries is the sad part. Me being able to go out, have a drink, eat a meal, have a good time, buy a t-shirt. Like, it's so sad, right? So sad. So sad. Boo-hoo. Like, why can't I do these things? I don't got it like that. Is what I'm coming to terms with. Bro, I can't. And here's when I started to realize it. And I made no changes, by the way. Made no changes. But I started like clocking like, oh wait, the math ain't mathing as far as what I'm bringing in and what's coming out. And a lot of people do not realize that, because they have like money coming in one way or another. And it's like, yo, how am I living check to check if one of my checks are bigger than what my parents make? And it's because of this. It's because you don't realize like the way that everything adds up. So an example on a smaller scale where it was more obvious was when I worked at the coffee shop. When I worked at my last coffee shop, I always liked the morning shifts because I could leave like at 1 or at 2. But to make it to the morning shift, you'd have to be up at 5 a.m. Or I'd have to be up actually at 4 a.m. to leave at 5 a.m. to get there at 6 a.m. And I lived in the Bronx and the coffee shop was in Manhattan. So that means I would have to take the train, but there's only one train. There's like a 15-20 minute gap between the train, and I would always miss the train. So for that reason, I was like, I'll just take an Uber. And almost every single day I took an Uber, because it was either I take the Uber or I'm late, because I'm already late to the train station. If I wait for the next train, I'm gonna be late to work. And I was late to work all the time, and I was like, look, I don't want to lose my job. I get paid very well. I'll just take the Uber. It's much more comfortable. It's late at night, early morning, so it's much safer. And I kind of convinced myself that was okay. That Uber was anywhere from $35 to $45 every day, which means that when I calculated the math as to how much I made at the end of the day, after taxes, I was making anywhere from $80 to $100 depending on tips. I have already spent $40 of those $80, and my shift ends at 2, which means after 2, I would go to my art studio, and then I would buy some food, buy lunch, pay for a Metro card, get another coffee. Look, I'm making no money, bro. I'm barely breaking even. I'm making no money is what I realized, and I didn't even realize until I quit the job, and I decided, how about I just take all this energy that I'm putting into this job and put it into my art career and put it into the social media stuff, because I'm getting these modeling jobs, I'm doing these art shows. Why can't I just do this? The only expense I had at that time, this was 2018, I think, was my art studio. I was still living at home with my parents, and my art studio was $1,500. So as long as I could make $1,500 in a month, I was like, yo, I'm good. And that was the second mistake. The idea of as long as I can only pay rent, I'm good. As long as I break even, I'm good. And granted, where else was I supposed to get money? I don't have an entrepreneurship bone in my body, bro. I don't want to do this. Here's the thing. I don't want to do any of this. A lot of these videos are just look, hustle, grind. I'm I don't want to do this. But the thing that I'm coming to terms with is that you kind of have to do this depending on the quality of life that you want, unfortunately. So I didn't want to do any of this. I really didn't. I was just on some yo, this is how much I need. This is how much I get. I'm good. But then you get older and you realize, wait a second, that's not enough. And here's why I was not realizing it wasn't enough. It's because I always had a credit card. So I was able to make enough on a monthly basis, and like I wouldn't touch my checkings. This is another mistake. I would never use my debit. I would always use my credit. So I would not see, I also didn't open my bank account, but I would not see how much money is leaving my credit card. I would just swipe, and I have a really high maximum, because when I was 19 and I walked into Chase and I said, hey, I want a credit card, homeboy helped me out and put my income as higher than it was, and I was able to start off with 2,000 credit, and somehow in a few years got that shit up to 10 and 15 and 20K. Now I'm at 20K like maximum. And look, when you could just swipe that and not think about it, and it's technically still under the 50%, it's technically still under the 30%, you're not realizing that every month you're overspending, because you're just like, look, I have enough in my checkings to pay my rent and all of the other things, my coffee, my drinks, my food, hanging out, everything I'm paying with my credit card. So you're not really like calculating, yo, how much are my actual expenses? How much do I actually spend every month? I never did that math. I did not do that math as to how much I was spending. I started to do it a little bit. I didn't do it until I think I was a year into my studio, and I was still taking Ubers. So I left my other job, realized, hey, I could survive. And it's because of course I could. My entire income was going straight into Uber. It was going to work. I was getting paid to go to work. So of course I could quit the job. I wasn't making any money. So when it came time to like, could I sustain my studio? I was able to, I thought. So then I was still taking Ubers while I had the studio all the time, like, because it's like my studio was in like an industrial area in Queens, so it was like really like far from the train. It was like a 20-minute walk from the train, and at that point it was like I was always leaving late, and then sometimes there would be no bus to take me to the train. Sometimes there would be no trains running, so I was just like, you know what, I'll just take an Uber. That Uber was also around like $37 every time. And like, I was just kind of like, look, put it on the credit card. It's all good. I'm going to get a modeling job here and there and be able to pay a huge chunk of that back. All good. Still have enough for rent. I'm living, right? I kind of operated like that for a long time until I did the math and realized, hey, the amount I'm spending on Ubers on a monthly basis without realizing is enough for me to just move to Brooklyn. Because my studio was in Queens, kind of like the border between Queens and Brooklyn. I could just move to Brooklyn. I could just like rent a room and just do that. By that point, I had been a year or two out of school. And I was like, you know what? Like, let me just move out. Like, it is what it is. I've been handling this $1,500 a month with no problem. Like, I could add like $600 to $800, $900, no problem. Like, because I'm spending so much in Ubers and food. Like, if I just start packing my lunch and I just start riding my bike that I have, I'll be all good. I moved out, and that was technically okay. And that's the thing. My mentality was just on breaking even at the end of the month, because I was just kind of like on some like, I'm always going to have on this kind of like mentality that there was always going to be more money coming in. And I didn't realize I'm living check to check. Like, you don't really think about it, but it is like, bro, I was living check to check. That whole big scary idea of this thing that's like, oh no, like, don't live check to check. I was like, I'm doing it. I don't have a 9 to 5, but I'm living check to check, because my only goal at the end of the month is to break even. And I keep saying I was not even accomplishing my only goal, because I wasn't breaking even, because I wasn't even like going through my expenses and realizing I'm overspending. So I moved to Brooklyn, and for sure that brought my expenses down a bit. But you know, anytime you move out, there is an initial like upfront kind of expense, from like moving to getting furniture to like just getting stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna be more expensive at first. So I lived with a roommate for like 3 months. I didn't like having a roommate. So then I was just like, all right, like if I'm able to cut my art studio rent in half, the $1,500, find a studio mate, because the space was really big, I'll be able to take the half of that, and then the price of the room I'm paying right now, and that's a 1 bedroom. So then I did that, and I was able to find a studio mate, left the roommate behind, went and got my own apartment. And then I was doing okay. I was like, look, this was 2019 at this point. I was traveling, I was modeling, I was speaking on panels. Like, I was really, like, my career felt like it was taking off. It was like this promised thing. That's what it felt like. I was just kind of like, woo, onward and upward, not realizing that my entire income is rooted in, is based on, do people still like me, and am I still relevant and marketable? And I always thought, oh, look, I'm not like the regular influencers because I make art, right? So as long as it doesn't matter. I could just, one day I could do a promotion, other day I can paint, is all good. Doesn't really matter. I'm going to be all right regardless. And in a sense, I appreciate my optimism, my joy. 2020 and 2021 really punched me in my throat, so it's kind of hard for me to have that level of joy still. I'm getting back to it though. I like the phoenix, I will rise again. But right now I'm just kind of like, girl, why the was I so dumb? There's so much I should have started earlier on, but this is the part that's specific to influencers. Outside of the freelance portion of this discussion, which is how we get paid, how do you plan ahead when you don't know when your next check is? That's also relevant to the influencers. The other aspect of that is that you get so far up your own ass thinking that you famous. And here's the thing. Just like how I thought I wasn't materialistic, I don't even like to shop, I'm not gonna fall into financial ruin because whatever, I'm smart, right? I'm not gonna give in to consumerism in capitalistic America, right? Just like how I thought that, and clearly I was wrong. I thought, look, this influencer, I'm not even an influencer. I'm just sharing my genuine experience, and it is what it is. No, I built my entire income in relation to that. I had now expenses, where before it's the only thing I had to worry about was my art studio, and I still live with my parents. I'm using my mom's toothpaste and lotion and everything. The towels are hers. The bread frames and everything in this house is hers, right? Now I'm in this apartment eating on the yoga mat with one fork. And then I did say that it was because I wanted to be a minimalist. But also at the same time, I was just like, yo, I legitimately do not own one piece of furniture. What am I going to do now? All right, let's keep getting to this bag. Let's keep doing this. Let's keep influencing. But then guess who came out of the cut? Woo! COVID-19. Woo! Financial ruin. And I think I've spent so much time really being like, yo, 2020 messed me up, 2020. But when I look back on it, nah, bro, 2020 in a sense, and I hate to be the person that's out of the bad came good, but 2020 really expedited, really crunched the timeline of my descent into financial instability into a 1.5 year timeline, and forced me to look at it versus continuing to spend how I was spending for a few more years and then getting to be older and really being extra messed up. Because if the pandemic hadn't happened, I would have still have been getting certain opportunities, which means I would have gone from that apartment to maybe a more luxury apartment to maybe a bigger studio to maybe this to maybe that to maybe that, only to realize the entire time I'm overspending when it's too late. So in a sense, I am very fortunate that I have been able to kind of see the reality of this, but I feel like a lot of people haven't really faced the music, which is you are living above your means. And as an influencer, you really get up your own ass thinking look, this is how I always was, bro. I'm a brand. What am I doing walking to the post office to sell a t-shirt? And it's just the person that's walking to the post office to sell a t-shirt to sell their merch has a business, sis. I had no business. Look, mad at myself because like I really was moving so wild. Like I really like looking back on some of those months, I was spending like 6,000, 7,000. How do I spend 6,000, 7,000 just going out? Like how? And here's the thing, there's people that do that, but they're like, yo, I went to this Michelin star restaurant. I was in dive bars in the East Village. How? Like, how, bro? Like, I really be mad at myself thinking like, how did I do it? And look, there is no need to guilt trip myself about the past. It is what it is. I'm better now. But like, I just need some of y'all to realize, like, have your fun, but like really look at what you're spending, because a girl like me didn't even open her bank app. Just swipe, swipe, swipe. Oh, cool. Got a big check. Half of that goes to credit card. The other half just will sit in my checking so I can use that for rent at the end of the month. And come tax season, woo, tax season. This is the other fun part about being an influencer / freelancer. No one takes taxes out of your checks. You take taxes out of your checks after. So if you work a regular job, when you get your check, it has a little breakdown like this much for this, this much for this, this much for this. So if you were gonna get paid $100, you just got paid what, 60? Freelancing works the opposite way. You're an independent contractor, which means they're gonna give you that 100 up front. Cool, you made 100, and then next tax season you're gonna have to give back that like 40 or whatever, or whatever much. Now make that into a bigger amount. If you made, let's say, 50K just straight freelance, like not a single penny, nickel, or dime was taken out of that check, you got paid in full every single time, you better scrounge up at least 10K, unless you have expenses. So in my case, I always had the extra studio, so the studio rent, like I have art supplies, I have things that I pay for, so then that's when you start taking that out of your expenses, blah, 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 to like bring down your taxes, because you are a business at the end of the day. But when you're breaking even, you don't have a savings. You're a freelancer, so you don't have a job, you don't have benefits, you don't have health insurance, you have nothing. You don't have anything saved for the IRS next year, so you're constantly in deficit. I was constantly in deficit. And then come the pandemic, mental health crisis, hello. Y'all thought I was mentally ill. I thought I was mentally ill. Not like in 2020, bro. Look, there's mental illness, I'm sad. This mental illness, I'm gonna eat a whole tub of ice cream. There's mental illness, I do not care. There's mental illness, I'm about to go 20K in debt because I don't care. That's where I was. And granted, there wasn't much work opportunity, because who wants to do an Instagram promotion when your whole entire family is essentially sick? Hundreds of thousands of people were dying, and also there's major nationwide, worldwide protests in relation to human rights. Like, I don't want to be like, hey y'all, here's some lipstick. Like, I didn't feel like it was appropriate, and a lot of people were doing it, but for me, I was just like, look, I don't even want to do any of this. I have my credit card, I'll be good. And turns out I wasn't good. So the way in which the timeline went is so by November 2020, my lease was up on my 1-bedroom apartment. And then I decided I'm going to just move. Actually, I say it as if I had a choice. I moved back in with my parents. And here's the thing about moving back in with my parents, y'all. Here's the catch. I pay rent here because when your parents own the house, when your family owns the house, it's everyone's asset in a sense. There's a mortgage. We're not rich. We didn't pay it in full. There's monthly mortgage. Which is like the rent that you pay to the bank. Their tenant left during the pandemic. So to bring someone else in, we were running the risk of someone not paying rent, because a lot of people weren't paying rent. So then I was just like, look, I'll just move in. I'm saying it as if I had a choice. I was like, I'm moving in. I have no money. I need a little bit of flexibility. I can come up with the money, but it's just like, I can't pay it on like by the first, every first. You know what I mean? So I pay rent here. I pay most of the mortgage. But whatever. So it's not like I've been able to save money this entire time, but I've been able to, for the amount of space I have a much cheaper rent than I would, even though it's basically $200 less than what I was paying at my 1-bedroom, but whatever. At least I'm with my family. I don't have to pay utilities because it's just the house as a whole. I can go downstairs. There's always food. There's always family. And coming out of the absolute hell that I was living alone with mental illness during a pandemic, being able to be here has been like a godsend. And just having family around has been the biggest privilege ever. For that reason, I'm like, that also made me realize I need to get my finances in order. Like, because I need to be able to own a house. And I know owning a house is extremely difficult. It's like the only reason why we've been able to maintain this house is because my father knows about construction work, knows how to like do stuff. So he's been able to kind of renovate the house. We got a fixer-upper and essentially transformed it through these last like 15 years that we've had it, 12 years that we've had it. But outside of that amount of labor, having like, like, it's wild because there's people that obviously own a house, so they know the vibes. And then there's people that don't own a house. And for y'all that don't own a house, if it's something that you've considered, if it's something that, like, you've never even thought of, if it's something that you can potentially achieve at some point in your life, like, I would say work towards it. It's hard, but it's also, like, as my parents were able to have a home for me, you know what I mean? Like, and I can like live here comfortably, and like I want to be able to do that not only for future kids if I choose to have kids, but like friends and stuff. Like, this home has always been like where my family members that come from the Dominican Republic, like the first few months when they need to get like their feet on the ground, like find a job, like they've been able to like go upstairs and like, sleep upstairs, have a bathroom, have a bedroom, and just be comfortable. So having this has been a real godsend. But I pay rent, so I haven't been able to save any money, right? And I haven't been able to push past my debts, really. And yeah, so the first few months that I was living here, I really thought, here's how delusional I was, by the way, like really, as far as like my relationship with money and my lack of a job, bro. I don't have a job. Like, I really was like, Mom, okay, I'll move in, but I'll move in for 3 weeks, for 3 months tops. It's been over a year. And you think I could move out? No, I don't know. Actually, I know what I was smoking. Devil's lettuce. That's why I'm sober. Because I really was lying to myself, right? Really was lying to myself. How could I? How could I move out? In that year that I did not even like try to make money, I could not even, and like I'm not even gonna blame myself. That is what it is. Now it's about getting past that stage in my life. But I never even looked at my credit score because I knew it was messed up. Because I knew I was living above my means. Because I knew that lifestyle of just like, yo, put it on the credit card. Oh, I'm freelancing. Here's a big check. Send it all back. That made my credit score shoot up. My credit score was beautiful. During 2020, I dropped like probably 100, 200 points. Like, so it's like, even if I wanted to move out, run a credit check. Run a credit check. Let's see what happens. I'm not getting an apartment. My credit score sucks. I owe, at this point, with not including student loans, over $20K. Where did I think I was going? Like, realistically, right? So I'm stuck, essentially. Like, of course, there's ways in which you could do it. Like, I could have gotten a roommate. I obviously have the privilege of having parents that live in New York City. So, like, I'm good. You know what I mean? Like, if they weren't here, we would have figured out one way or another. Look, but just as far as doing it in the traditional kind of like formal way of like applying for a lease, getting an apartment, like doing what I did before with my apartment before, doing it again, finding a new apartment, I would not have been able to do that. So I stayed here for the first few months. I was really, really depressed. I was kind of in a constant state of like, maxing my credit cards maxed out, just trying to find enough to pay the minimum and trying to find enough to help out my parents with the mortgage and whatever the case was. It hasn't been until recently. Since then, it's been over a year since I've moved back here. It hasn't been until recently where I've been able to get slightly back on my feet. I'm still struggling a lot, but I'm starting to make a dent in my debt. And a big part of it has been that I've been on my hustle. I know a lot of people also hate on hustle culture. I do too. I absolutely despise it. But look, I was when I wasn't doing it, it was eating me up inside. Now that I'm doing it, the hustle is eating me up inside, but at least I'm seeing money come in every month. And I like, look, it sucks. The system that we are in is not built to sustain us, but the system is not changing anytime soon, is what I'm coming to terms with. And the best I can do is just try my best and gain a semblance of financial literacy. So the first thing I did, let's get into like what I've done. Like now that we know that, like, you know, that I'm broke, the first thing I did was stopped using my credit card. And the thing that was difficult about that, that's like a no duh, right? The thing that was difficult about that is because I always felt okay as long as my checkings had money. But when you're swiping your card and it's coming out of your debit and you're seeing your actual cash go, it makes you say, hold on, I should stop spending money. So as soon as I literally put my credit card in my underwear drawer. It's next to my panties and my passport. It's all in there. I don't think about it. I don't use it. I just look at it on the Chase app and I go, damn, I fucked up, right? And then that's it. I move on, right? So I only use my debit card, which makes me have to be more, you know, mathematical. Because then I'm just like, if I have this much for my living rent and this much for my studio rent and this much for my dog's pet insurance and then this much for all of my subscriptions, how much is left over? Oh, bitch, nothing. What do we do now? And now we set a financial goal. So I was not setting financial goals before. You know what a financial goal isn't? A financial goal isn't a manifestation. Or an empty manifestation. What do I want? I want to make money. That's not a financial goal. A financial goal isn't a vibe. It isn't like financial goal to be a millionaire. Financial goal, make more money. Financial goal, pay off my debt. Financial goals need it's like more tangible, and that's what I wasn't realizing. Up until recently, something I've really realized about my horrible relationship with money is I was waiting for something to come save me and I was not taking any responsibility. So I always had this mentality, there's going to be this big check that comes, this big job opportunity, this big modeling opportunity, this big brand promotion, this big art show. I'm going to sell these big paintings. I'm going to make these paintings. I'm going to sell them. I'm going to make all this money. And that's going to be what is going to allow me to just move forward. There is no moving forward without facing the present, right? So there isn't going to be anything that comes save you. Sure, there may be a big job around the corner, but when your expenses are as high as they are, as mine are, I see a big check come in one day, next week is gone because I've had to pay several rents. I have several business expenses. I have to put a certain amount to the side for my taxes. I'm paying 2019 and 2020 taxes because I did those late too because I was irresponsible. So I'm just seeing money. I'm bleeding money all the time, bro, all the time. That's why the image of the small business owner or of the influencer or of the person flexing on you a lot of the time is absolutely fraudulent, bro, because even with the amount of money that I can make on a monthly basis, I do not hold any of that at the end of the month. I can't, there is it's literally gone. And the part that sucks is what I'm talking about right now isn't even how to maintain. Isn't even how to guarantee survival. It's just straight surviving. I haven't even transitioned into, now that I got this money, what can I do with it? Right now, I'm like, I got this money. How do I make sure I don't continue to absolutely pummel my credit score into the ground and I don't lose my art studio and I don't lose all the things that I need? So right now, I'm moving on a very, very cautious and very slow basis. So as far as setting your financial goals, you really have to break down what are your expenses. You really have to face, what am I doing on my bank account? Now, every few weeks, every 1 to 3 weeks, usually at the beginning of the month and 1 to 2 times during the month, I'll write down all of my transactions literally by hand from my bank account, and then I'll calculate how much I'm putting into certain things. And then from there on, I look at what my current bank account balance is. I calculate how much more do I need to make sure I have for expenses. So if we're at the middle of the month, this is how much I've spent so far. This is how much is coming. So these are the 4 more subscriptions that are going to be automatically taken out of my account, and the 2 rents that will hit at the first of next month. If I add those up and I subtract them from my current balance, how much will I have left? Nothing. Very little. What can I do with that very little to try to make more money? Or what else do I have around the corner that's gonna like pay me, and when does that pay, so I can kind of factor that in and plan that out? Or if there's not really much cooking right now, how long can I sustain this while I try to increase my value? So while I try to make a YouTube, because I'm in social media, while I try to make a YouTube, while I try to make more TikTok videos, while I try to create more content, I got the art studio. Financially, not the best decision. I got it back in December, but it's also, as far as growing my art practice, as far as growing my brand, it's like I haven't had a studio now in 2 years. I have seen the tangible effects of not being able to work in a space that's separate from my home. I was getting sick in here. So I was like, this is an expense that I'm going to have to invest into future me. I'm not going to reap the benefits right now, but a year of being in that space will guarantee that in a year from today, I'm going to be in a completely different situation. So you kind of have to really think strategically and start looking at every single penny, nickel, and dime. And based off of that, set goals that are tangible. So it's like, if my expenses are basically around almost $5,000 every month, how can I make that a third or a fourth of my income, of my monthly income? Look, we don't got the answers yet, but like, realistically speaking, like, my expenses are that high. How can I go from the breaking even mentality that I have always been into, like, how can I actually have a quality of life? How can I actually have health insurance? How can I actually save for retirement? How can I actually guarantee that I will be able to own a home? How can I actually do any of these things? And this has been all that I've been putting like my energy into right now, as far as like learning from YouTube videos. I don't even buy into the idea of any quick money schemes. I don't even think I have not lost one second of sleep over NFT, bro. You can't make me do that, because like, you can't convince me that that's gonna be a thing, bro. I'm sorry. Like, I've been watching, I have good models as far as like finances in my life. They good to look at. They weren't necessarily telling me what to do, and I think it's because I was always a smart kid, but like, you know, then I just kind of started doing my own thing. And it's one of those things that it's so like what's a freelancer? I don't know. Like, they don't know how to help me in regards to that. So, but like, looking at my parents and the way in which they made it to where they were, and looking at all the people that are around me and just people in general, the people that have been able to last a long time from what I've seen are honestly the people that play by the rules. Understanding the system, understanding, hey, what's my insurance policy? Hey, who's in my network and who's out of my network? Hey, like, how do I retire? Like, understanding like the intricacies of those things are what made my immigrant parents very different than a lot of people that I've noticed. Is they literally know, they have the privilege, the education to have been able to read contracts, to have been able to read the terms and conditions of things that they sign on, to have been able to understand, hey, how do we take out a loan for a house? How do we do these things? Like, these are things that I don't even know, but that you could talk to them for hours about, because they went through that system. They didn't go to school like in real estate. They're not bankers. Oh my God, it's so loud outside. but they were able to find all the different things in the system that could work in their favor and kind of figure it out. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do right now, because I'm like, look, I keep waiting for someone to come and save me, but I'm not even looking at my bank account. I literally don't know what I spend on anything. And I keep thinking that like this magical check that I'm going to be rich, that I'm going to be famous, that I'm going to be this big artist, that one day I'm not going to have to worry about it. And the more money, more problem, phrase cliche is very real. I saw this YouTube video a while ago on financial creep, CREEP, like creep, not like creep like I'm creepy, like creeping up on you, like the financial creep, just how through time, when you start to make more money, you start to somehow inflate how much money you spend. So like if you received like a 10% promotion, you somehow in your head are like, yo, I got this big promotion. That means I can go do this. And you're somehow, when you do the percentages of your spending, you are somehow spending a higher percentage than you were before you got the promotion. So you are at a loss because you saw a little bit more money. And that's how the money starts creeping up on you. Like the expenses start creeping up on you. You think, well, I made it here. I got all these customers, or I got all these things. That means I'm at a point where I could do this. And it's like, no, you can't, because the moment one little tiny thing goes wrong, it all crumbles. And that's what keeps happening to me. The moment one little thing is out of my control. Like right now, my dog has arthritis. When I adopted her, having a dog, an expense. But when I adopted her during the pandemic, I was depressed. I adopted a dog. I love her. But she had a broken leg, and I was like, it's all good. I'll take care of it. The other leg that's opposite of the broken leg developed arthritis because I feel like she's been compensating for the 2 years that I've had her by putting her weight on the other leg, because the original broken leg had a metal plate in it. So whatever. So now the other leg that she's been putting more weight on has arthritis, and she's only 2 years old. And now I'm here like, damn, on top of the almost $100 I spend on her insurance every month, I'm gonna have to take her to rehab, and that's gonna be a $200 per visit. So you know what? It is what it is. I'm doing it, but it's like one of those things that it's like at every single point. Before it's just like, oh, $200 for my dog's rehab. Take my credit card, all good. Now I'm just like, yo, my credit card is still technically maxed out. Like I'm putting in like a month, like I'm paying it monthly, but my interest is pretty high. So it's like I pay this much, and then like it only goes down this much because the interest makes it go back up this much. So it's like 2 steps forward, 1 steps back kind of vibe with every single payment. But like now that I'm not like using my credit card, I'm just like, this is like a massive expense that I can't afford, and I need to like move stuff around for me, and now I need to like come up with new ideas and like new business like things, and like I'm like, now I understand why everyone's selling candles. Like, bro, catch me making a candle, bro, because like if that could help right now, what's your favorite fragrance? So look, don't buy into the idea that like self-care is wasting all your hard-earned coin on brunch with people that you don't even like just to get shit-faced. Don't. Like, if you enjoy that, if that's the only thing keeping you alive right now, I understand. Do what you gotta do. But if you're just like doing stuff just to do it, if you're just impulsively spending and you know you don't got it like that, if you like me, you're not looking at your bank account, if you were like me where it's like, I could take the train, it's actually not even that late, but I want to pop out in an Uber, don't. If you like, look, frugal. Restrict, it sucks. I hate to restrict. It's literally why I worked when I was younger. I worked so I wouldn't have to restrict, because I grew up not having anything that I wanted. I was exclusively a Payless and Old Navy child up until I got my first job when I was 17. Up until then, it was straight high waters and Old Navy cargos. When I got my first job, I said, I am never limiting myself again. I make money to enjoy myself. If I want a drink, I will get that drink. That's literally what I said to myself. And now I'm at a point where I'm like, yo, I am not getting that drink. Oh, man. Look, you got to watch how you spend your money, and you got to actually invest it in someone, because someone like me, my income right now is relying on people liking me. And the moment that's gone, everything's gone. But the thing about me is, look, I'll be a barista again. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Let's continue to strive to be more fiscally responsible. It doesn't feel like hot girl shit to do, I know. To be like, sorry, this doesn't fit into my budget right now. But honestly, that's how a lot of the wealthy, like the tech people I knew growing up always moved. They was always on there like, yo, you owe me $13.07 for that drink I did. I'd be like, okay, Mr. $13.07. Look, I'm here for the experience. Yo, everybody put their shit on my card. It's all good. Now I'm like, look, that MetroCard swipe was $2.50. Look, now I get it. When it comes to family, loved ones, it's all good. But like, don't be like going broke for people you don't even like, people that wouldn't even like help you out in a difficult situation. And look at your bank account. I think the sooner you confront the things that give you the most stress and anxiety, the sooner you can move on in life. I really started moving forward as far as pushing past a lot of the things that were standing in front of me, a lot of my struggles with mental illness, by doing all the little things that I kept putting off. And one of them has been literally just sitting down and being like, yep, that's my credit score. Now what do I do? You know, it can only get better once you start facing the music, and it's only up from here. I hope you all have a prosperous, beautiful rest of your month. Happy Black History Month, and catch you on the next one.